People, I don't know if I've ever told any one of you this before, but I am no fan of democracy. In fact, I detest it. Think I may have mentioned that before at some point. It's this article. GOP legislators in some states seek to restrict voters' ability to determine abortion rights. Based. Legislative efforts in Missouri and Mississippi are attempting to prevent voters from having a say over abortion rights, building on anti-abortion strategies seen in other states, including last year in Ohio. Again, unfathomably based, I wholeheartedly support. Now, my own feelings on abortion, and this caused a bit of a stir when I first said it some years back, I am both pro-choice and pro-life. And I'm aware that can cause some people to cock their brows in confusion, so let me explain. I think you can be both because whilst both positions encompass abortion overall, they're coming at it from two very different perspectives. Pro-life sees abortion as a moral issue. To them, it's an act of immorality, which is fair enough, really. Whereas pro-choice sees abortion as an issue of bodily autonomy and state encroachment. One position is moral, meanwhile the other one is political. Now, the reason I find this interesting is if we look at that quote from Cortez earlier, which I happen to agree with, is that there's two forms of control. One internal, the religious one, and the other one external, the political control. And we find ourselves with the classic duality of a philosophical perspective, especially the libertarian one, because ultimately this is where the tug of war takes place. You see, on the one hand, you wish people to have the freedom to make decisions, but they should make good moral decisions so as to keep society in good working order that doesn't give the state a reason to intervene and grow. Yet, at the same time, if people start behaving in a way that is not good for society, well, then many will run to the state as the sole organ that can right the ship, because it has the power to do so. Now, whether or not the state will actually do so is a gamble, but when you're left with doing nothing is going to cause the degrade anyway, yeah, the gamble is going to seem more inviting. This is the reality that not a lot of people want to discuss, either because they wish to seem principled or because changing will be seen as grifting and or selling out. This is one of the few times I criticize Sticks. Well, I'm not really criticized, that's maybe a bit harsh, but he's the most principled libertarian around, and whilst I agree with his principled sentiments, I can't in good conscience stand with it given the current state of modernity. However, if you don't change when it's clearly obvious the political apparatus is not functioning as you wish it would, and you have no means to get it there, then you look like Dev, utterly detached with this cultish devotion to utopian idealism that portrays you as some kind of completely delusional lunatic. Which is also why I happen to side with the more anti-democratic sentiments, and my justification for doing so is highlighted by some points here. They're scared of the people and their voices, and so the response is to prevent their voices from being heard. Democrats have pledged to make the issue a central campaign topic this year for races up and down the ballot. This is about a Republican Party who thinks they know what's best for you better than you know what's best for you. This is about control, so much for liberty and limited government. Repeal the 19th Amendment. They're scared of the people and their voices, so their response is to prevent their voices from being heard. Now, I have a bunch of issues with this statement right here, which hits very much at the heart of democracy and this bullshit concept of majority say and will of the people. The masses are sheepish morons who run on emotion and no sense, especially on this subject. So what, we're supposed to follow through on your will when your will advocates for policies that enables despicable behavior, tears at the very fabric of society, and results in social decay that ruins it for everyone else? Notice the concept of morality and repercussions of this worldview is never discussed anywhere. No, it's just this nebulous quality of freedom. To do what? Be a degenerate heathen that engages in sexual deviancy, and that is good. Why? Does it ever occur to these people that this is the will of the Republican voters, and I don't care about your rights and your freedoms because what you want is objectively bad? Does that ever cross your minds, you selfish degenerates? No, I suspect not. Why, that would require some self-reflection. Democrats have pledged to make the issue a central campaign topic this year for races up and down the ballot. Let's be real for a moment here, shall we? This is a wedge issue that is used to emotionally manipulate a rather large portion of the electorate. And if this is an issue that drives you to put people into office, yeah, I can safely say you have no business having any voting rights whatsoever. I have no problem with the GOP going as authoritarian as possible to remove it from the ballot. This is about a Republican Party who thinks they know what's best for you better than you know what's best for you. This is about control, so much for liberty and limited government. Please, spare me your crap. You're using this as a wedge issue to get control of the government apparatus for your political faction. You are no better. In fact, you are worse. Far, far worse. You see, I can respect them for culling your so-called freedoms when disabling them will result in an improvement, keeping your ilk from infecting the political arena and enabling your behavior, which results in ill discipline and further corruption of an already crumbling morality. Freedom is a power, and if you are not capable of wielding it with any sense of grace, well, then you shouldn't have it, because you're stupidly destructive and you suck. As Cortes said, if the people aren't moral, then others will advocate and greenlight state intervention. Liberty and limited government are the fruits of good morals and societal cohesion. They become difficult to keep stable when the opposition are the likes of you. I know, this is like frame-breaking information to you lot. Concepts that you will never ever find in a group of people with behavioral patterns akin to ferals high on acid, with a fashion sense like they just got caught fornicating with a fucking rainbow. Cheers for watching, and once again, I apologize for nothing.